Hey everybody, and welcome back to Storytime with JRP. We're continuing our book, Laurence Grey, Secret of the Lost Roanoke Colony, and we're currently in chapter 43. So if you're just joining us, head back to chapter 1 so you don't miss any crucial details. So, a brief recap of chapter 42. Laurence Grey cracked a code from the aliens that was a clue that took them to the Huntington Library, but then he realized the fatal mistake he made, that it was actually the city of Huntington's library, not the Huntington Library in San Marino. So he only has 20 minutes left, but he threatens Sheldon with revealing Sheldon's true identity, and perhaps it'll buy him more time. Will it? Well, we'll find out right now in chapter 43, titled The Ultimatum. General Phil Sheldon, a.k.a. Philip Swanson, furrowed his brows in response to Laurence Grey's ultimatum. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. Grey rolled his eyes. "Don't even try that on me, Swanson. I've heard 'em all. I saw the look of recognition on your face when I mentioned the name when we were at Arizona Crater." But Sheldon would not get in. "Hey, I study colonial criminals all the time. Doesn't everyone? I even have an honorary doctorate from university." Arms crossed, Grey asked, "Which one?" "Oh, a certain one in Arizona," trailed off Sheldon. Grey waved him. "Huh, well, that explains it." Then he slapped his head. "Congrats, you got me off the subject, Sheldon, but it's time we got back to it. How did you—" Just then, Sheldon whipped out his gun and smashed it against the side of Grey's head. "Now listen here, Grey," began the much more confident Sheldon. "If you as much think about that name again, I'm going to—" "You're gonna what? Kill me?" laughed Grey. "You know better. Only I can read the alien clues. I'll probably be the only one that can open the alien sheds inside. You need me." For a moment, Sheldon's confidence faltered, and that's all Grey needed. He grabbed Sheldon's gun and pointed it at his head. "Now, General," said Grey, "it's either death for you now, or more time to find Roanoke before Jason dies." Sheldon remained silent, but then Grey took the safety off the gun. All right, stammered Grey. 15 more minutes. "That's absurd," replied Grey. "Make it 2 hours." "Half an hour, 90 minutes, 1 hour. Okay, deal," finished Grey in his back and forth. "Starting now." Sheldon grabbed the gun back. "That's counting the time you had left from any previous countdown." Fine," responded Grey. They both walked out of the study room. They were immediately joined by the 8 assassins and Jose Gonzalez. It didn't take long to search the rather small one-story library. The search party, however, came up empty. Sheldon and Gonzalez were clueless, but Grey had an idea. He stepped up to the librarian, who was about Grey's age, and asked, "How long has this library been here?" The librarian, who was one of those typical types, was glad to get any attention at all. She said, "The library's been here since 1851, a couple years after the gold rush began." This was a red flag for Grey, who turned to Sheldon and exclaimed, "That's exactly 200 years after Roanoke disappeared. The aliens had already proven they can travel through time, so perhaps they added the clue about the library later, because no one was picking up on their previous clue." Sheldon scratched his head. I guess it is possible. What I don't understand is how this makes sense. I believe the play on words, ton of hunting, that led us here. But what do the other parts mean? A tree with no green? 2 rocks? It's hopeless." While Sheldon was rambling on, it struck a chord in Grey's mind. He raced back to the librarian. "Tell me, has the library always looked like this since 1851? The librarian shook her head. "Not at all. They remodeled it in 1960 and sealed off a few wings of the library due to budget cuts. It would cost too much money to tear them down, so they're still there, empty." Grey began to stare off into space, eyes wide. Jose Gonzalez stepped up. "What is it, Lawrence? Tell us." Suddenly, Grey snapped out of it. He sprinted towards a random aisle of the library and began scanning the books. A little group of assassins, generals, and taxi drivers followed him. "Grey," asked Gonzalez, "what are you looking for? Why are we in this modern buildings category? This probably isn't the time to check out a book." Suddenly, Grey stopped. He reached for a book. "The Urban Jungle, Why Trees Are No Longer Green," he said. Everyone watched in silence. "Hey, wasn't that part of the clue?" dumbly asked Gonzalez. No one responded. Grey opened the book. The first page had a picture of 2 rocks on it. The space where the book had once rested on the shelf was empty, upon first glance. Grey discovered what looked like a tiny finger scanner on the back of the bookcase. He put his thumb on it, and suddenly the whole bookcase and part of the floor swiveled around, taking Grey and company to places unknown. And that is the end of the chapter, guys. It is getting really, really good now. So they found the library, and there's some sort of open sesame that's taking them to some mysterious chamber. What is in that? Well, you have to find out in tomorrow's chapter, guys. All right, I'll see you then.